Alright, it's up.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today's game we've got House of Evolution, otherwise with the best acronym in the game, HOE, against Dabbing Doomfists. First map will be Hanamura, and I will be the first to ask you, Minimac, who do you see taking this first map, given both lineups that we have here?
I really wanted to see dabbing. I feel like after the draft, with them picking up those two key supports, and I'm not sure what House is going to bring. I mean, they did have a rough end of the season, but then they also did have the same kind of transformation. They picked up some new players. It's really two
Okay,
new teams going at it.
interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm new to this league, and the first two people that I actually started talking to and met were Last and Rolling Girl, and I believe they're both the two supports that they picked up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting to see how this plays out for them. Two new
I also-
supports.
I heard a lot about this quad ski. Kurt was talking him up a lot. And I know
Quad ski.
Banana Cream is pretty good. Grossy's a very good flex.
Yeah, I'm interesting to see what everyone rolls up with. We all know the man, the myth, the legend himself. It's a crit, Mr. Crit, being the
Just
best
the
Hans
man.
soap
Just the
in the
man.
league.
He's just the man.
Just the man. The self bona fide best Hans soap in the league. Let's see if he chooses to pull out the Hanzo or not.
Yeah, he has been running main tank for his team recently, but with the new roster, he might be switching back off to the DPS role.
And I have to give it to House of Evolution. I do appreciate the scooters, the same career profile image, trying to look all uniform. I
I
gotta
know
give him props for that.
I'm really upset that dabbing is not all dabbing. Like
I'm a little upset too. I'm a little disappointed in that.
I
I'm not gonna
named the
lie.
team after that, and they don't even follow through.
That is a big F. That's a feels bad man.
I'm actually telling Poet to get it done right now, or he's forfeiting a map.
Let's see if they actually do it. But we have Zach A. Weaves coming in for Bloodshot, it looks like. Yeah, I'm not familiar with everyone else and what they play, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of comps they come up with and that they run today.
Diving now
Do you
has two
expect any
masters.
goats? They do. Okay.
Yep, it's Zach and Johnny.
Okay. Now the big question, do we expect goats from either team?
I'd expect it more a from dabbing if I were to see it. From House of Evolution, I don't think so. Because I think they are very anti-goats. They have in the past agreed not to play goats against their teams.
Hmm. Interesting. Let's see if they keep up to that or if they end up just just crumbling and saying, you know what, screw it, and they go it. So I believe we're just, do we know what exactly we're waiting on right now?
This is the lineup. We're just looking for confirmation from the coaches that they are ready.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so House of Evolution is waiting for Strut that to join. He's another master player for them.
Okay, and that would then
He
put
just
both
added
teams
me,
at
so
two
I'm inviting
masters.
him right now.
Okay.
Okay, dabbing.
Alright. Looks like we are good to go.
Traveling to Hanamura. Initiating match.
Game 1 between House of Evolution and Dabbing Doomfists at the ever lovely Hanamura. Quadski coming out on that Junkrat for the side of HOE. Ooh, a potential Ashe pickup?
I wouldn't be surprised by it.
We don't get to see Ashe too much, to be fair. She is a new character. And let's be real, Bob is one of the most OP
And
ults
now
in the
I'm
game.
very worried because I see Rolling and Jonesy on support with Last still having the pick. I think they're running goats. They are running goats.
Looks like it looks like it, ladies and gentlemen. Goats
Interesting that they're
alert.
going for the Mercy pick instead of a Moira.
Yeah, considering that they're on attack, even though they do have the spawn advantage, they probably are thinking the Mercy is probably better utilized, considering they could, you know, use the res, get that person up, and then just continue the push.
But I mean, House doesn't really have that bad of a comp. Oh, good dynamite there, crit. That was an A1 play. They have a very.
Just had to call him out like that. Feels bad, man.
They do have a very anti-goats comp, so like especially with this Roadhog, this Junkrat, and this Ashe. I don't know if they
combo
kinda
coming
planned
out
that.
does manage to get the hog, or the Reinhardt. He is trapped, and he
He's a
does
very
end
good
up
pick.
falling. Mercy does go in for the rest. She does manage to get it, but pays for it with her life.
But they
Mercy
are
does
starting
fall.
to get the picks. They might win this without the Mercy.
Yeah, picks are going in favor of them. Slowly moving on to the point here. Reinhardt just kind of getting booped around a little bit. Kowalski does fall on that Junkrat. They do lose most of their damage. And now it's just a lonely Roadhog as he gets booped off the edge.
And it's just the thing about goats. Mistakes do not matter. It is
really don't.
like to think they just won that fight without a core healer like Mercy. And they just walked through them.
And Rolling Girl does switch off over to that Moira. This time around. Riptire coming out. Doesn't manage to secure the kill onto the Reinhardt. Does get him low.
Killed in the process.
And he does, you're right. That's a potential early pick for them to be able to go off of. They don't have their main damage dealer. Rally coming out. Pain coming out does catch last. Fortunately does fall while using that rally. Beat coming out in response. Diva Bomb even coming out trying to zone them out.
The Bob didn't die. That's a very good anti. Ryan could die here.
Onto the Reinhardt. Doesn't fall just yet. As I say that, he does die.
This will be a very good win for House if they can finish this fight because Dabbing used all their ults there. And they had none going into that except for a Bob.
Reinhardt is coming up on that shatter though. See if he's able to get anything. Does get two.
That's enough to win it.
Both supports. But he does fall.
Though. We do have a nano jump though.
See if he's able to do anything with it. Shatter comes out, does catch Mr. Crit. He does end
And
up
he killed
falling, as
Banana.
does the Junkrat.
We are gonna see a Riptire though. That could, if that gets enough people low and dead on the point. Brig is even down now.
Quadsky coming through with it. Coalescence coming out for the side of dabbing. Riptire doesn't catch anything. I think the wall might have messed him up a little bit.
Diva Bomb goes nowhere. It's just for a remake, but he does get the kill.
Does die in the process. And the defense slowly getting picks in their favor. Beat does come in though. Unfortunately, I think to no avail. As it looks like it'll be a reset for the side of dabbing. It's just your support's alive.
House does have the ult advantage. And that fight lasted nearly, I think that was 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, because it was a very quick first point cap for dabbing. But a solid defense. They did get 2 ticks though on that push.
And I think that's a fine trade for House. They were coming to that fight with 0 ults. I didn't even see them having a chance of winning that fight. But the contest was just so good.
Dabbing, switching over to the point. The Ryan does get walled off by that Mei. Fortunately, not dying yet.
Ooh, that was a beautiful pin.
Coalescence, Riptire, and Nano coming out for House of Evolution. Diva Bomb coming
very
in.
Smart Diva Bomb.
Does get one. But
And
the rally
D-Mech.
and the D-Mech, you're right. The rally does manage to keep the rest of the team from dabbing alive. And a wasted
the
shatter,
shatter goes away.
unfortunately. And dabbing a solid second push. Leaving themselves
About
with
4 minutes remaining. I'd take that if I was House, because like I said, that fight could have been easily won by dabbing.
Yeah, that was a very solid and a very solid time bank too for Hanamura. Just under 4 minutes. Let's see if House of Evolution can better that, or will they, with their strict anti-goats, or are they going to? Nope. Looks like they are not going to run goats on offense, choosing instead to go with the Hanzo this time outside of the Ash.
That's a pick that you can do with confidence against a comp like goats, because usually you do not run Zen with goats. Like there is variations with it, but you know if Grossi can get that grab off without it getting eaten, you have a very good chance of getting the team wipe. There's like Sound Barrier, I guess, can keep him up for a little bit, but
yeah, Sound Barrier can only do so much for them. Yeah, even if you paired Coalescence with it, I don't know that still would be enough healing to keep everyone alive from the Grab Dragons combo. And dabbing, choosing to go with the Goats defense. Let's see if it ends up working in their favor. House of Evolution do have a decent comp though for this defense. This defensive setup here. Ooh, last, trying to be a little cheeky. Trying to potentially get an early pick. Does manage to get the Rhine, but unfortunately...
That Rhine just got separated from the team. That should be a very easy kill. But they're still finding the kill.
They get the kill onto Punk. Both Reinhardts being traded out here, but the kill's in favor of the defense.
It is a late pick onto the Rhine though. They could make it back before the opposing Rhine does to make it a 6v5 fight for a little bit.
Yep, they do have spawn advantage. Let's see if the Reinhardt's
If you see the Lucio, they're taxing over the Rhine.
Which is key. They might be able to make it back in time, just barely.
But right now, they only have 3 people at choke. The Brig's going for the flank again. Rhine
The
just
Rhine is
made
back,
it back.
though. That taxi was critical. Blast with another cheeky little flank. Doesn't manage to get a whole lot done. The shatter
That's
gets
a very
2.
good shatter.
Coalescence coming out in response, but a fat Anti. Anti gets 4 people. But, unfortunately, not able to really follow up.
I didn't even realize that House just went goats. I thought they were still running the Hanzo.
I thought they were too, but you're right. They did switch to goats. Diva Bomb coming out, not getting anything. Picks still going in favor of this defense. Late stagger
But right
onto
now,
the Diva and the Ana.
House has a huge ult advantage. Like,
And a
there's not
huge
one-
stagger onto that Zarya.
Like, there is not a... Like, maybe they'll get Ryan Shatter, but you're gonna have 5, possibly 6 ults coming into this next fight on the side of House.
Now let's hope that House doesn't throw every single one of them.
Blast still going for this flank. Will it work 3 for 3?
Oh, he does get caught out though this time. I don't think he'll be able to get back. He does not be. He's not able to get back.
Double
Grab
ult
and
into it, a
Shatter
big
coming
anti,
out.
and that is gonna be near a team wipe and a definite
Yeah.
tap onto point A.
Unfortunate. If Last had not been caught out, I believe they probably would have maybe won that team fight. Maybe.
Also, what was very critical there was that Powlett tried to charge into where the Brig stunned, and once the Brig kind of got caught, it should have been just stay at the choke, fight the fight there, and not go for the early pick.
Oh, the defensive sim coming out from the side of dabbing. Sim able to do a decent amount right now. Diva Bomb coming out does manage to catch the Zarya. But just like that, this high charge sim is just melting through the offense.
What I would do next fight is I'd go in for a dry push on the side of House. Just build your ults for that last fight. You have time, even if you're a little bit lower than 7. I feel like the main reason they're low on time is because they didn't just go straight with goats.
Yeah, I think so too.
But this sim pick might be crucial.
He does get himself onto the high ground too. Cheeky little hiding spots up there. The attacking side looking to come through this right choke. Both teams kind of feeling each other out. The sim barrier does come out. A rather quick ult charge there.
There's a shatter, gets blocked.
Not able to find anything there. And just like that, as I say that, sound barrier
find
being
the
used
Diva.
on the defense. Shadow comes out, Diva Bomb in response. Doesn't catch anything though.
It was mainly just a remake right there because the line was sitting right in front of it. But a big sound barrier is gonna keep the Brig alive.
Gonna keep everyone
Ryan's probably
nice
gonna fall
and
sin falls
healthy.
as well.
Diva does get demeched. And a nice anti onto the Diva. Both Divas are demeched here. Rally coming out for House. Grab coming out. Not a lot of follow-up damage though. Even though it does manage to catch a couple. Counter grab, catching 2. Shatter coming out, but
Very
gets
weird shatter
nothing.
there. It almost got
Very
stuck in the air because
awkward.
of the weird placement of that grab.
Very awkward shatter there. We would like to have that one back. The defense just staggering out now at this point, just trying to bleed out the time. Diva Bomb coming out. Doesn't manage to catch anyone.
Oh!
Ooh, but the
How
charge
was
onto the
charge?
Shattering Rhine.
Stop the
Clutch. Clutch pin. He does end up falling though.
There's gonna be almost
Coalescence.
another grab on the side of Grossi. We're gonna see another nuke on the side of Diva soon.
Support ults being used on both sides. Ryan charging into the spawn. Not really
That might
getting
have been
anything.
crucial. That might stop it. Oh, a very
That's-
good grab there to keep him off.
Grav keeping him off the point, managing to finish the second point cap. Still a solid hold on the defensive side. Managing
Yeah,
to bleed
about
out a little over than a minute and a half of their time bank.
Yeah. And they have about a minute and a half of an advantage. But I think it's just going to be straight goats for the next 2 maps. I'd be very surprised if House still tries to go against this goats. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, people
considering that it didn't work with them really before.
people
Until
say
they
that
switched.
goats is boring. I mean, when you're in it, and I enjoy watching goats, and when I played as Ryan, I enjoyed a lot more. And Hammond, I love playing goats.
Attackers
It
We
is
are
a
gonna see
very
a bar though.
it is a very strong comp for a reason. Potentially a pharmacy? No, maybe not. Punky sticking with that Ana.
We are gonna see a
The
Zen on the side of dabbing instead of the Brig, which might be
defe
a very weird pick,
the
considering
defensive,
that Brig slowed down about at least two of House's fights due to the first stun.
yeah, the defense taking a little bit longer to pick their characters this time around. Not everyone is here. They are running the pharmacy though on the side of House. But
The damage that dabbing just put in.
immediately the Rhine falls, but the res immediately used. Pharaoh trying to flank on that left side. Iron
Blind
barrier's
shield
down.
is down.
Charge comes in, doesn't catch anything, but the counter charge
Good
does
counter.
catch the Rhine. But he does fall in the end. I don't believe they have res up. Farah managing to catch the enemy Rhine. Oh,
And they do have res.
they did get the res off. Coalescence
Next
even
looks
coming
like a
out
cat.
and rally. Solid push from the offense.
We are gonna see a little bit of more of an ult advantage from dabbing though.
And they're very much nearing the Mercy ult and the barrage. Ryan
Ooh, a
Shadow
very
does
good
come
Shadow
in,
gets two. If it ends, it
but he
doesn't kill the
falls.
Lucio though. That would have been
He
a
does.
crucial pick with him having sound barrier.
Yeah, he does get the Moira though, but outside of that, not much really able to get done with that shatter.
Now you're going into dabbing with definitely 4 ults, possibly 5 with the Zarya.
And they're looking at 2 potential fights here. Maybe 1, depending on how long this team fight lasts. Ryan Shadow comes
Shatter
in, does
only
get
finds
one.
Charges off the Zarya, bubble's gone. Almost takes her off the map.
The Diva does take care of Quadzi on that Pharah. And this is the last push. Chastin apparently falling off the map.
He was kind of getting trapped by the Zarya. I think it was a smarter play just to get him back into the fight with full health.
It is a late stagger nonetheless. See
Grossy doesn't get the
anyone's going to be
grab
able to
off.
touch the point. They are able to touch the point in time.
Side during Valkyrie.
Barrage,
Trans and
Coalescence,
Sound Barrier blocking every ult coming towards them.
everything in the kitchen sink being thrown at the defense, but the defense holding strong.
Oh, what a sick grab. That would
That actually,
actually
that would have been really awesome had they been able to touch the point with that grab.
Initiating
So a draw is a possibility here.
It is. But something is telling me, given how this map has gone so far, I kind of like dabbing Doomfists to take the map, to be honest.
We are seeing a Meg though come out from Moira or from Grossi. Just this counter this goats. Oh, never mind. They're just gonna go counter goats.
Yeah, I was gonna say the May would have been a solid pick as well, just because obviously the fact that you can wall people off from the choke.
And we're gonna see a reverse comp here from dabbing, pulling out the Pharah.
So they're running essentially pharmacy goats, which is interesting. I wonder how this is going to work out for them. I've never seen that. That kind
And
of
with
combo before.
the Ana on the side of house, it might be a little bit easier to take down this Pharah.
It might be.
Just gotta hit your shot.
Ana is a pretty good hit scan, as we all know. Giving up so much free space. The defense just willing to take the fight onto the point.
For House to have a very good chance of holding her, I think they have to at least win one fight on this defense for first point.
They do. The Mercy is called off by herself, though.
It's a very good pick. Ryan is low.
But he doesn't fall. Defense managing to keep him alive. I'm wondering how Rolling Girl was by herself. Maybe she wasn't able to fly to the Pharah, or if it was miscommunication, or what it was. But they do get the D-Mech onto the Diva, and the picks are coming in their favor.
Out the Mercy. Gonna have Barrage soon.
Somberry even coming in just as an insurance policy, keeping everyone alive. And it'll just be this Reinhardt. As I say
The
that...
mistake there was that House came outside of the point. Like, they won that fight. Taking out the Mercy and taking out the Zarya, they had that fight won. But they walked outside where the Pharah had full range in the sky, and she just laid down shot after shot.
And eventually was able to pick off that Lucio before D-meching the Diva.
Diva getting booped into the team.
Pharah.
This might be a D-mech, and it does happen.
Diva does get D-mech'd. Ryan Charge coming in. And a grab
Ooh,
even.
a barrage from the behind.
Barrage does get two. Good combo.
And that's gonna end it here.
Game. Dabbing Doomfists. Take map 1.
Play of the game.
Zach on that Pharah. Managing to do work there. This is right here at the end.
Wow, even getting all those shots onto the baby Diva.
And living with 20 HP.
Now, King Zero, I'm gonna keep saying I doubt that they're not gonna run goats against each other.
Yeah, after what we've seen today, it looks like we could be having either just a bunch of goats, or as Dabbing pulled out just now, a very interesting form of goats. Like, what would you even call it? Just would it be like just pharmacy goats, pog goats? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to call that comp. But hey, it worked out for them. And if I'm not mistaken, even if Dabbing Doomfist did lose that fight, I think they still had the ult economy to take it the next fight, or I believe they still also had a decent amount of time bake as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They probably, I believe, still had like a minute and a half or two, roughly.
Because if you just think, if House held that first fight, you had a Dabbing Doomfist coming into the fight with ults, and they would have used them to definitely cut the point. Then you're going into a point B where Dabbing has to build their ults back up, and that's leaving them with only one fight with ults. Where in the fight they had on point B, you definitely had at least 2 fights where Dabbing was bringing in a full arsenal of ultimates.
Yeah, I agree. Map 2 being King's Row. Map 1 going over to the
Zach for
side.
Minimac, please. What the heck?
See. Doesn't look like we have any substitutions coming in from either side.
What I might want to see here is, I think Powlett might play a little bit of Hammond on this King's Row.
You think so?
Yeah, I've seen him play it before.
Well, this map isn't a terrible hamster map, to be fair.
I feel it's one of the best with just the entire streetscape is good for Hammond's minefield, and then going into last point, you have all the ledge. Like Hammond is basically an anti-contest or a contest character for that last point.
True. Ooh. Oh man, I don't know why I'm tired. It's been a long day. Oh, looks like we do have a sub. Mr. Crit coming out and strut that ass coming in. And Dreamboat Deluxe also coming in for Chastin Assassin. Strut that ass. Is there other Masters player, it seems? Dreamboat Deluxe.
At least it seems it's going to be a very close game. Like Hanamura wasn't really a stomping match. Like
Yeah,
even every
true.
fight was close. Like one team could get 2 picks and still somehow the other team would prevail.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But that's just that is honestly Overwatch in a nutshell. Doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
Especially when you're running goats, it's that one pick that really just makes the fight a steamroll. Like if you get the pick onto like any of the tanks, you just start walking through them.
I believe we're just waiting on confirmation from both teams that we're ready.
Yep, just waiting on House of Evolution. Alright, they're ready. Let's go.
Alright, map 2.
Now entering King's Row.
Dabbing Doomfists able to take map 1 up against House of Evolution. Let's see if they can take map 2 or if House of Evolution can bounce back.
Just gonna do a quick shout out for anyone watching. Go retweet Overwatch Happy Hero Days. You could win a PS4.
Nice.
Retweet that bad boy.
And now we take our attention to the ever popular King's Row, where double snipers and, sadly, goats was born.
But I mean, I'm seeing this Sombra and the Mei on the side of side of house, which is a very strong counter, and I see the Hammond, and I'm very excited. I don't think I've ever casted a game with another Hammond. I will be very critical of his playstyle.
Very much critical. Looks like they're choosing to run Johnny on the sniper, I'm assuming for a couple of early potential picks, and then maybe switch off to that Diva, or nope, just switching off immediately. Weird. Let's see if
Zach
this
was switching
Sombra
to the
maybe-
Hanzo.
Interesting. He does catch out the Sombra though. Know exactly where she is. She
Does get the
does
pick off.
fall.
Wait,
Maywall
Maywall
does
gets
come out.
2.
But the rest of the team managing to be able to get over the wall to save them.
Ryan does fall.
The May does fall in defense. Mercy going for a gutsy
very
res.
good res.
And
That
she
was a
gets away
very
with her
smart
life.
res.
Very
That
gutsy,
was
but
very
she
good
does
play.
get away.
She hid behind the pole there, so even that Ryan hammer couldn't even hit her.
And picks going in favor of dabbing. Line charge doesn't get anything, but very late staggering kills onto the tanks. Now it is just a Sombra, and as I say that, she does fall. And a solid push. Even the Diva, and a little bit of tactical crouching from the side of dabbing.
I'm just noticing that, well, there's the Hanzo ult going off. There was no Zarya on their team to have that combo.
Yeah, I believe Zach was on that Zarya. And instead choosing to switch off to that Hanzo. Potentially
You're
using
gonna
his
see-
ults not so much for the kills, but more so for the zoning.
We are going to see a Pharah and a Junkrat come out from the side of house. I did like the Sombra though better. That's going to be very
Eurobomb
good.
comes out, does get one. Unfortunately, the Ana on the opposite side of the shield. Both Coalescences coming out. And the Shatter coming out as well, does manage to get a couple. Coalescence getting 2 picks. And the cart keeps a rolling.
Tanks for house both saving their ults, which is a very smart play. They could possibly get the recontest here.
They could. They're pushing it rather close though.
Yeah.
Shatter
Ooh, a
does
very
get
good shatter.
3. Grab combo even coming out too. If they do cap the point. They get the picks, but unfortunately they do give up the point for it.
It still stalls them for a little bit though.
It does. Now the offense just regroups and they go again.
We're gonna see a Riptide here coming out from the Junkrat. They're in a very close quarter. This could be very big.
Zach this time switching off to the McCree instead of that Hanzo to deal with that Pharah. Pharah does fall. Mercy even gets the kill onto the opposing Mercy, but she pays for it with her life. Picks going in favor with for dabbing, excuse me. Tyre does manage to get one. They are down to supports. See if dabbing can keep this rolling. Line charge coming in, doesn't get anything. Grossi switching over to that Genji. Rush coming out, does get one, but does fall.
It is good enough though to make the dabbing back up.
Valkyrie does get popped and a huge grab. Shadow coming out but doesn't get anything. High Noon being used as his own. Just to keep everyone off the point. Does get the Genji. It's just Tracer.
If they can stagger for long enough, Ryan will be coming back with a shatter as long as with a coalescence and a grab. But
unfortunately, Tracer not able to stall out long enough. And a solid push from dabbing Doomfists.
Initiating match.
Looks like House of Evolution will be going with that Goat's defense. Quadski this time on the Reinhardt. Ooh. A potential nice counter. Ooh, as I say that, Last was debating on going with that Ana, but does switch off to the Zenyatta. Zach looking to potentially pick a hit scan. Could be seeing some more Ashe play, ladies and gentlemen. See if this defense will hold up to the powerhouse that is Goats.
very early charge.
Counter charge coming in, doesn't get anything. The Brig does fall early though for the offensive side. Charge does catch the Diva. Doesn't get DMX though yet.
The heals on the side of dabbing are just incredible.
The Diva does get DMX. Shatter comes out, gets 4! Huge Shatter!
There's gonna be a stagger onto this baby Diva. Brig stuck in the back as well.
She does catch out last, but rolling is there for the res. And that'll be a reset for the offense. Ashe does have Bob ready to go. Ult economy in favor of the defense. Although quite a few ultimates coming online for the offensive side as well. Could be seeing a lot of ults used this fight. House choosing to rotate through the backside of the point. Shatter gets everyone.
Very big.
It's everyone. Grabs coming out, Coalescence and Sound Barrier keeping everyone live. Transcendence coming out. Everything being used here in this team fight. Shatter coming out as well.
Gets 2, but wasn't able to follow. A huge stun by the Brig.
The stun, and the Diva bomb is able to catch 2, all because of that stun onto the Reinhardt from the Brigitte. Very well executed there by House. Ryan charge does come in, and it looks like Palette will be staggered on that Reinhardt. Unless the Mercy will be able to get the res off, which it looks like she will for the moment. And a soft reset for both teams. Break stun comes out, not able to get anything, and he does fall. Grab, another grab does come out, does manage to catch a few. Just not a lot of follow-up. A huge grab gets 4 people. Lucio falling early. Beat used on the defensive side. Reinhardt does fall and the D.Va does get demeched. Solid hold so far from the defense. And it looks like House is wanting to go to this right side. Flank around the right side. Toward this alleyway, come around behind the defense, but the defense reads it right. They're ready and waiting. As I say that, Zarya falls. Grab and Transcendence comes in. Beat and D.Va Bomb being used on the offensive side. Not managing to get anything yet, but the pick. Two supports going out. Bob unfortunately being used there as well. Not able to get a lot done with that Bob ult. Just over 2 minutes left on this attack. For House. The stun shatter, geez, English. Does come in, but doesn't manage to get anything. Pella does fall though. Mercy does pop Valk. She is able to res him. They're still keeping the card contested. For the moment. Last does fall on that Zenyatta. But it looks like Grab even being used. Grab and Beat being used to keep the Reinhardt alive. A huge shatter cancels the Beat being used by Banana. And the defense will push back the offense for the time being. Four ults though, potentially going to be coming online soon for House of Evolution. The real economy looking in their favor. Coalescence coming out. D.Va Bomb coming out as well. Doesn't manage to get anything. Rally and Shatter. Huge Shatter, but a great Transcendence from last. Managing to keep everyone alive. Bob comes out and another counter. Huge Shatter. Not a lot of follow-up damage though. But they do have to deal with that Bob in the back. Trades going in favor of the defense. Mercy able to res, but she does fall though. As they do get two late staggers onto Punky and Grossi. Dabbing looking to potentially hold this on the second point. I don't believe anyone from House of Evolution can get back in time. I don't even think Lucio can. He's not able to. And Dabbing takes round 2. Map 2, excuse me. They go up 2-0 in the series.
Play of the game.
Not a bad game from both teams. Let's see if House is able to bounce back. See if they can find anything that can break this defense that Doomfist has.
I have returned, and I missed the end.
You did. Having Doomfists though, managing to hold them. They didn't even cap second point. House of Evolution. Zach on that Ashe doing work. But honestly, Last and Rolling Girl are doing really well, that support duo. Last had a very nice transcendence in that last fight. They kept the entire team alive. But we have Mr. Crit coming back in. Does come in for Grossi, and Quad C being subbed out for Chast and Assassin. And I believe that has this is both of their Masters players, I believe.
I was saying at that first point for the dabbing defense, the healing onto Powlett in those team fights was just insane. Like he'd charge in, he'd be at like at least under 100 health, and just the whole House of Illusion would be focusing and focusing, but the heals would just keep him up.
Honestly, it seems the Mercy pick for the side of dabbing Doomfist is paying dividends. You don't
Yeah, and you
generally
think the
see.
Moira would be more of a benefit with them being clumped up, but
You would think most people prefer the AoE healing of Moira than they do Mercy. But Mercy able to just able to keep him alive and able to, obviously the res is very huge, and the fact that now her ultimate does 60 healing per second versus the 50 that it was doing before is obviously helpful, but it seems to be paying dividends for them. House of Evolution just not able to really do much.
yeah, that res onto the Rhine for the dabbing's attack, it won them the first fight. The Rhine was down early, and the res just was able to keep them going.
Excuse me, I'm gonna get a quick drink of water before we start our map 3.
Now, I will be surprised here to see if Goats does come out again, especially with Well and a lot of maps where Lucio is more proficient, where tanks would be easily booped.
Now arriving at Helios.
Okay, sorry about that. But to your point, I do agree with you. I do believe though that if we do see Well, which, well, funnily enough, we do. First map, first point.
It's here.
well. I do believe though that this map in particular, I believe we will probably see a lot of Orisa Roadhog. Jeez, been one of those days. Roadhog and Orisa are very, very much useful as well on this map alone, just because, you know, obviously they can do the same thing that Lucio can, just boop people right into the well. Environmental kills, I believe, will be the name of this game, and the team that gets more of them, I do believe, will probably be favored in this game.
I also
are
do like
seeing-
seeing this Reaper pick on the side of house. A very good hero to counter the Orisa and Roadhog. It will just get behind the shield and deal that easy damage.
Yeah. And we all know that Reaper is a very, very good tank buster.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture.
Fairs on both sides, but Pharmacy coming out with that for dabbing.
Yep. And the Doomfist coming out for the side of, well, dabbing Doomfists. But last, choosing to go onto that Pharah. And an early pick with the halt
Double
from both teams.
Bolts.
Both
Both on
Orisas
the
getting the
Roadhog.
counter Roadhog. The Orisa does fall for dabbing. And that'll be first point cap. Nope, as I say that. Lucio was trying to stall, but just gonna retreat back to his team. And Johnny this time switching over to the Widow. Reaper does get rid of that Roadhog, and a nice hook onto the enemy Roadhog to get him. And
A
an
good
environmental
group as
kill,
well.
getting the Reaper.
You're seeing a Widow come out now on the side of dabbing.
Let's see, he does get the res off though. Lucio trying to get the Orisa, doesn't manage to get her. Trying to be a nuisance in the backline. A hook
Ooh.
and a halt. They both take each other down. Hawk does get the hook onto Johnny, but not able to finish the kill. Death Blossom coming out, but not managing to catch anything.
It did
Kind
get
of a
the
rush.
Orisa alone up though for a finishing kill by the Lucio.
It did. Potentially did just enough. But Johnny doing work on that Widow, managing to get a couple.
Dabbing playing two heroes that play from a range, and well now we see Crit going out to the Widow. They just didn't before have those hit scans to take him down.
Heroes never die.
Supercharger does come out for the side of house.
And another Holt onto the Roadhog.
Johnny
Johnny.
popping off though, getting 3 kills. Meanwhile, 4 ultimates coming online for the side of dabbing.
Should I even sing the song? Johnny,
You-
Johnny, yes, Papa. Getting kills, no Papa.
I'm gonna take a hard pass on that. I'm gonna take a hard pass on that one. This ain't itchy. Supercharger coming out from the side of dabbing.
Another early pick by Johnny.
House seemingly just kind of trying to fall back, but as I say that, 3 picks actually going in favor of dabbing.
It's a Crit and the Mercy just traded kills on each other. Both headshots.
It's very interesting. You don't see that very often. Johnny getting very aggressive though. Very aggressive positioning.
Killing a big coast, but it's on the Lucio, so he won't fall. Oh, stop
Let's
this
see.
res. Unable to.
Able to get the res off. Johnny managing to take out. It's a crit. Pharah does fall though. Unfortunately also not resable because he died by
Double
their own hand,
hog.
it seems. Both hogs just pushing each other back. Just being a little friendly love tap.
Heroes never die.
Hulk comes out, doesn't manage to catch anyone. Reaper going in for the potential Death Blossom. It does come out, but he does fall. Doesn't get anything with that ultimate. Crit coming back onto that Tracer.
Ooh, both hogs going down.
Again, that is the 3rd time this game. And Johnny just free to do whatever he wants. Dabbing taking the first round, 181.
Just that entire game, Dabbing had range on House, and it was very hard to get to their DPS. Like, the tanks were taking care of themselves, either hooking or halting each other off the map.
It was just a DPS combo. Ooh.
A sim, though, which I'm very much liking on this map. If you're able to set that sim up, even not even on the first fight, but just to get her turns on at some point, it's very hard for the opposing team to try to come back in.
Yeah, people forget Sim is actually not a bad pick on KOF maps. Especially considering that most of the maps are so small and so enclosed. You could even have done, you could probably even run her on the well point. But Zach coming out on the Torb, Big Daddy Torb.
There's also a very interesting comp on the side of Dabbing running on the side of House running the Orisa and the Diva. But the sim turrets are activated and her beam is fully charged.
Picks though are going in favor of House. As Arya does manage to take out the sim. Last, unfortunately, gonna fall on that Mei. And that'll be a soft reset from Dabbing. Zach this time switching over to the Reaper. And I didn't even notice, but Mr. Crit choosing to go with that Ashe.
Thing is though, although House won the map, it seems that Dabbing is gonna have the ult advantage coming into this fight, especially now that Sim just used her ult so early, and Chris switching off to the Sphera.
Yep. But a nice 2 boops. One onto the Zarya, one onto that Reaper. Huge pin onto the Sim.
Shield so low that we might fall, and he does.
He will fall, unfortunately. You hate to see it. Unfortunately, just not able to regroup in time with his team.
Triple Tank coming out on the side of Dabbing, and Zach now switching over to the McCree.
Yeah. Last switching over to that Winston, trying to take care of the Symmetra. Supercharger coming out for House of Evolution. Diva Bomb coming in as well. Does manage to block it though. And a nice shatter. Beat coming in though.
Keeping the rest of the team up.
Huge grab, does manage to catch 3. And I believe that's a team fight win for the side of Dabbing. But a solid capture progression. For House though, 82%. Potentially 2 team fights is all they need.
I'd say here, you try to win this point back, get that Symmetra set up. If it doesn't work, like, use the Sim ult definitely here, and if it does not work, I think you have to switch, because it's going to be very hard to put those turns back on now, especially with the Winston.
Yeah. Sim ult does come out. Charge does get the Sim in response.
What's so strong about the Sim ult, though, it's cutting the team basically in half, and that's going to cause the Reinhardt to go down, along with the
does
Mercy.
Die trying to get the res off. High Noon comes out. Doesn't manage to get anything. But Diva does get the mech, but she uses bomb. Does manage to catch last onto that Winston. And a huge stagger onto that Zarya.
That Sim ult was actually better than I think most would actually see. Zach had his ult that entire fight, but wasn't able to use it until basically House won that fight. Because if he was able to pop that High Noon, oh, a good boop onto the Rhyme, and knocked off by the Diva.
Huge plays by the side of House. And it doesn't look like Dabbing are going to be able to pull this back. Everything being used, but unfortunately, House of Evolution will bring the round back, 148. Now we go to ruins. Sim,
This is going to be a
not
very
as useful
strong
on
map
this
for
one.
Johnny again. A lot of good positioning spots for the Widow.
Indeed, Widow very strong on this map. A lot of side lines, a lot of decent high ground positions, and a lot of places that you can actually kind of hide. And
Hammond
get some cheeky side
finally
lines.
coming out after the teasing on me.
House choosing to go with the double hit scan this time. Along with the Winston and Hamster. Johnny on that Widow and Zach on the Pharah.
This is going to be very hard for the Widow. With 2 dive tanks and just another Widow pressuring you along with a possible soldier, it's going to be very hard to get a good setup.
Reinhardt does fall. And that'll be an early team fight win for the side of House.
Still, there is 2 picks on the side of dabbing.
They do. They did manage to catch the Winston and the soldier. But I don't know that it's enough for the moment.
They're going to see Johnny switch off the Widow, like I was saying. It's just too much pressure on him.
Goes over to that Doomfist to create some pressure of his own. Rolling does switch over to that Moira. 2 go down. Dream unfortunately does, I believe, fall off the map. Crit gets a good pick onto Rolling Girl. Both the crit is down. 2 picks from Johnny on that Doomfist. Primal Rage being forced out just to stall out the point. Does fall immediately after it ends though. Hamster and Moira just keeping the point alive. Hamster does use his ult though.
That's a very good ult, putting the mines everywhere.
The
Just
good
more percentage onto the side of House.
Does end up
Crit
falling.
finding 2 now.
It does find 2. Point will flip over in their favor, but numbers advantage in favor of House. Hamster does dive back in. Not really
Now we
doing
see
much.
Zach switching over to the Widow.
He
And
does
getting
get the
that
pick
headshot.
onto crit. Lucio falls as well, and that'll be a soft reset for the side of House.
Ults are building up though on both sides.
Paulette choosing to be very aggro and goes in. Does manage to get out alive with the help of Lucio. And a late stagger onto Banana Cream Soda on that Lucio. A lot of ults coming out from the side of House. Beats being used on both sides. Hamster ult, Coalescence, and Sights all being used. Primal Rage being popped by Paulettes. Just trying to keep people off the point and keep the percentage in their favor. It does fall though. Johnny just trying to stall out a little bit more. Does manage to catch the Moira. But he does end up falling.
House did have to use a lot of ults there to win back that point.
They did. And Rolling just trying to keep it alive. 92% in their favor.
Dabbing is one fight
team
away,
fight.
and they're gonna have a very good combo here. They're gonna have grab, a meter strike, and a coalescence, all to just feed into the big grab.
We're looking at the potential last fight of the map, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny, though, unfortunately dives in by himself and doesn't get out. Primal does end up being popped. And he does get one. Grab and
Zach now
Colossus being
finding
used.
two. Mine's
Answer
dropped
ult
on
being
point.
used. Picks in favor of dabbing though. And he does get one with the meteor strike. Zach does fall to the Winston though. And it is just a tracer. As I say, that is just a tracer. Crit trying to do everything he can to stall, doesn't. Point flips over. Zach also choosing to go onto that tracer.
It is possible for House to come back here, but just the
Lose
picks coming
too
out from
early.
dabbing.
They lose 3 early.
No one
Up to
really
the hands.
focusing this Moira though, getting close to an ult.
She
Does
does fall
fall.
low. And that is game and match, ladies and gentlemen. Dabbing Doomfist will take the series 3-0. And what I think a lot of people would probably consider an upset.
Play of the game.
Oh, I'll save everyone. I won't sing it again. But Johnny did pop off.
Johnny doing work on that Widow.
Five environmental kills on the side of Chaston.
That first map was insane. Just the fact that we saw both Orissa's halt, both enemy hogs into the well 3 times in the same round.
Yeah.
That was honestly hilarious.
Moving on to Junkertown, I'd like to see Johnny back on this Widow. With the long sight lines.
Mm-hmm. Junkertown, another very strong double sniper map. Could potentially bring out the Hanzo as well. They could also run the pirate ship. You never know. Also a very good map for that. Let's see if either team will choose to make any adjustments. Bloodshot does come in for Johnny.
For
Interesting
Johnny,
swap.
not Johnny.
An interesting swap. Very interesting swap indeed. I wonder how that plays into what comp they're choosing to run,
Goats.
potentially.
Man, it's a crit subbing himself out.
For Quadski.
Let's see if House can redeem themselves, at least taking one map.
We shall soon see indeed. You'd like to see them take at least one. To be fair, these games have been very competitive. None of these games, none of these maps being very much a blowout or anything.
Yeah, not at all.
But it would be very much a boost of confidence for them to take this map. And it does look like indeed potential hostile evolutions will be running goats with a potential Genji. Unless he's switching off of Genji onto that Diva potentially. We shall see. Meanwhile, Zac early picking that Sim, and as I say that, last switching over to the Tracer, and Zac switching onto that Ashe.
Looks like they're opting for this kind of dive.
As I
Like
say
to
that,
see
Zac
that.
switches again to the Widow. Zac seemingly unable to make up his mind.
We're seeing a little bit of a switch up for roles here. Like rollings on the Diva now, Bloodshot onto the Lucio, Jornji onto the Ana, last onto the DPS.
Well, last was on the Pharah. On Ilios, if you remember.
Oh yeah. Oh, and
Zac
an
with the
early
early
pick.
pick. Huge pick onto Punky.
Look at this flank though going on by House. It actually might work.
The tables have turned, ladies and gentlemen. The offense is now the defense.
Another key headshot.
They're able to take
though.
out 2 tanks, so
Despite the 2 Widow headshot kills, that was a very good play by House.
Last, just trying to put some pressure from the high ground. Last does unfortunately fall. And as does Zac, both DPS down for the side of Devin. Genji does get the D-Mech on the rolling. Hamster coming out for Pallet. And quite a few switch-ups. Zac switching over to the Bastion. Last over to that Pharah. And Bloodshot onto the Zenyatta.
This is just becoming a very good hold by House. But they just don't have this range again for these far DPS that Dabbing's pulling out. Oh, a good stun onto the Hammond. Minefield does come out though.
Not able to get anything at the moment.
Yeah, the sound barrier was activated. Oh, the beautiful push by the Diva, getting shot into those mines.
Potential late stagger onto this Genji. He is able to get away for the moment. He does make
This
it out
could be
alive.
potentially dangerous for House with Bastion being able to set up to the point. The only problem I see though is that Dabbing doesn't really have a shield.
They don't have the shield tank. They do have a whole. They have Hog now on the side of the defense, and the Hanzo. Zac raining bullets from behind. Does get hooked though, and immediately deleted. Last able to take out the Reinhardt.
A good hook.
But 2 good hooks from Dreamboat Deluxe, able to take out both DPS. Zac immediately switching off to the Genji. Paulette also again switching over to the Orisa this time. You would have liked to have had the Orisa for the Bastion. And maybe Zac would have maybe stayed potentially on that Bastion. So a Ryan Hog defense though. Does get the hook, but the hook cancels. Beat comes out for the defense. Hanzo ults and Zarya ult, or I'm sorry, Nano, excuse me, being used onto the Zarya. Hanzo does get 2 with his dragons. And a late D-Mech onto the Diva.
This might be potential. I don't see Dabbing having a chance of even touching the point.
Not
a few
even,
seconds though.
I don't believe.
Zach is gonna get there probably with the Genji.
Or the Moira. But they're choosing also to run double off tank. Palette switching over to that Zarya.
Last does have the Zarya, or the Feral, but it does fall.
Does not able to really get anything. Diva ult comes out,
So
just
now
running.
with 2 picks onto the healers. 3.
4, the defense just like that drops. An unfortunate timing with the Coalescence. Does seemingly get wasted, but they are able to cap it. Kappa.
That was very well done by Zach. They're getting both the healers very early.
Last switching over to this Reaper. And Blood going over to the Hog. Palette switching off, choosing to go with the Ana. Still sticking with the double off tank. Last, unfortunately, doesn't have anything to combo with this Reaper. Let's see if he's able to get any value. Hog does hook the Ana, unfortunately not able to finish her. Not able to keep the Ana alive. Couple of late picks for the offense. Hanzo behind them, unfortunately, does shoot out the dragons, unfortunately not able to get anyone. Potential late stagger onto this Hanzo. And point 2 in favor of Dabbing.
Dabbing is really bringing it back with that strong Streets phase push.
Which is weird because they're running double off tank with no shields, which he does. He is free to use it. Switching over to that Mei. They do have Ashe ult as well, which is being
For that Bob.
Diva ult, banana cream soda.
And Dabbing's gonna come out with this however for the next fight.
They will have Nano Blade. Meanwhile, 5 ults soon online for the side of Dabbing. Mei does fall. She does take the Zenyatta.
Especially with him having Transcendence, that's a very big pick.
Beat does come in for the Nano Blade.
A good shatter.
Nano Blade
A nice
doesn't get
anti to
anything.
follow up.
And the pick's going in favor of House. For the moment, they are able to hold. They do still have Blossom, and they do still have their whole hog and Transcendence.
Early pick by Zach.
Early pick. Good pick off onto that Ashe. See if Last will be able to get much value with his ultimate here. Doesn't get the Diva D-Mech, and immediately goes for it. Does get 2.
We do have a Boostio on the field.
The Boostio, along with the Bob and the whole hog. The whole hog, a smart one, choosing to push back the Bob. Just a Lucio contesting for the moment.
Oh, he did have sound barrier.
It's Diva though. They do have the numbers to contest this though. Diva,
A good
both
sleep
Diva
onto the
ults coming
Roadhog.
out. 2, both bombs managing to catch 1. Ryan does fall. Lucio does pop that barrier, managing to keep himself and the Mei alive for the time being, but they do unfortunately get off the point. I believe he got booped off. That'll be 3 points capped to the side of Dabbing. They do manage to catch it in overtime.
And we see an early pirate ship coming out on the side of House of Evolution.
I love it. And the Sombra pick, too. I do like that pick as well. Because if you can keep the Reinhardt shield down, or even if you're able to get off a nice EMP, that Bastion's just going to reign supreme, and there's nothing they can do to stop it.
What would be very good for dabbing the run here, which I doubt they would, is the very famous Junkrat Reddit play that most people do now on this map. Just hiding right on that left side of the first door. Because you can get those early picks onto the Bastion. It's going to be impossible for him to set up right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
They are choosing to go with this Pharah and Torb. Big Daddy Torb. See if Last is able to do anything with it. Good placement by the Torb turret. And they're running the double shield as well with the pirate ship. Turret does end up going down. Ryan Barrier is already down. The rest of does fall though.
Red's back up. Rhino with no shield is going to be very hard. They do
Bastion
finish the
does
kill onto the
fall.
Bastion.
Enemy
A
Reinhardt does fall.
very early ult by Zach.
Very quick ult. Does manage to get one, but does pay for it with his life.
Well,
Rolling
he
does
still
get the
might be
rest
able
onto
to
the
pull
right.
away with this.
Last does fall, as does his turret. See if he sticks onto this Torb.
As long as they stay on the point here, they'll have the respawn advantage to keep taking this fight. And the more that house or dabbing stays, the more they become staggered.
Heroes never die.
Early Valk being forced on the side of House. An interesting use of Valk. Reinhardt comes in, does manage to catch Lucio. Bastion does get
Ryan
two.
Shatter does go to waste. The Bastion killed him a little bit too quick.
Supercharger is ready to be deployed.
Coalescence even coming out. Both support ults coming out, but they have 4 ults online. For the side of House. Rolling Girl even using her Valk this last fight, which I did not notice until just now. Early pick onto the Pharah.
Team up for special attack.
Supercharger coming out as well.
EMP coming out, getting a few.
Doesn't
Bastion
manage
still
to
just
catch a lot.
tearing through this team. A good ult.
Last, unfortunately, he was close to that Molten Core. Chooses to switch off instead to the Junkrat. And Zach switching over to the Sombra as well. Quite a few changes coming in. Rolling, choosing to switch over to that Brig. And 5 minutes for this defense. Sombra, unfortunately, is probably going to struggle with this double tank setup.
Thing is, she just needs to get her EMP once to make it all worth it.
Just
to take
once.
away both those shields. Bastion out of turret mode.
Yeah, it is a struggle to get it against this team comp because of how many shields they are running. But, as you said, if you can get it up just once, if you're able to win the team fight, it's still worth it. You do get the hack onto the Bastion, though. Shatter and Bomb comes in, gets 2.
And Not even having to use EMP there. That gets the Bastion off the point.
Yep. Last is very close to that tire. Zach just about to have that EMP.
They're gonna stay with the Bastion here since he has ult, which I don't know if that's the right decision.
Zach potentially getting the good value here with the EMP.
And they were very good
Not
shatter.
even going to use it.
EMP coming out.
EMP coming out for the offense. They are able to take out the Reinhardt. Mercy does get the res onto the Bastion. Meanwhile, Supercharger coming out. The EMP does come out though for the defense. Bastion does fall. Even tire being used. Gets 3! Huge tire. They did use 3 ults in that fight, however. They're still choosing to stick with this Bastion. Dreamboat Deluxe does swap over to the Zarya. Tank mode
Finding
does
the
come out.
bridge.
Tanko
Getting
gets
both
2.
healers.
Diva Bomb, unfortunately, not able to get anything for the defense.
Good hack onto the Diva in the back. Dabbing though did get off the double shield, not as much protection for this Bastion.
Ah, but last, unfortunately, not able to make it out alive. Rolling does fall as well. Coalescence comes out. Diva just trying to stall out as long as she can. Along with this Reinhardt.
Oh, before he gets the pin off.
And that will be the cap for House.
House of Evolution is gonna have 2 more minutes above dabbing.
Just over 2 minutes, as you mentioned. Let's see if dabbing is going to be able to come up with something of their own. And the last immediately wants to give them a taste of their own medicine and immediately picks that Bastion.
Ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
But the defensive Bastion coming out as well. And they could be doing something sneaky. Potential. A very interesting sneaky strat here. Choosing to go with the close corner. See if it works
I
out
like
for them.
it very much, trying to get them off this pirate ship early. I feel that they should have been a little bit closer, but it still might work.
Still might.
Ryan, or their wrist is very low.
Able to
But
stay
the
alive for
healers
the
are
moment.
just keeping him up. And then the pick out to the Mercy.
Last able to take out the Mercy. He does fall in turn, but both Bastions do
Bastion's
fall.
been traded.
Stop resisting. 30 seconds.
Rolling, able to get the res, excuse me, onto the Bastion. Sombra playing behind, trying to potentially hack the Bastion out of his turret mode.
Strut already at 84 though to his EMP.
Strut does manage to get the hack off to the Bastion.
Gonna have EMP for the start of the fight. Already a pick onto the Zarya.
EMP
And
comes
that
out,
gets
does
everyone
manage
with
to
the
catch,
EMP.
does get everyone. Coalescence does come out.
A very good
Rolling
eat there by the
tries
Diva.
to go for the res, but unfortunately does pay for it with her life, and she had Valk. Diva bomb
Team
doesn't
is
get
coming
anything.
back though for dabbing. Bastion though, good setup in the back.
Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be enough.
I mean, that was a very good recovery by dabbing, especially with that weird setup House started with.
Yep.
That could have easily been a holds at the door.
And also considering they only had a minute, not a terrible push, but by all means, they probably would have liked to have gotten that first point capture. And it looks like a very similar strat coming out once again for House, with the pirate ship and that Sombra.
Ready.
Last going on to that Junkrat, and Zach choosing to go with the Bastion himself. Two very high damage characters. Let's see if they're able to deal with this double tank setup.
We have turned from, or changed from, I guess, for a better word, from both teams going goats against each other to now both going Bastion against each other.
I prefer this over the goats, not gonna lie.
You always want to see a
Oh.
good pirate ship.
But a cheeky strat. It looks like...
Oh, they're doing the Junkrat thing.
But do they
I can't believe I
know?
didn't even realize it.
Do they know that they could be potentially being flanked?
Oh, they switch it up. Orisa trap, does put the shield down.
But Zack immediately falls. And she's not able to get the res off either.
But,
She got
but no
interrupted.
one's looking at the Bastion. The dabbing had the advantage there, but they focused the Rhine, leaving the Bastion just to shoot all at their backs.
Both Mercies also went for the res. Rolling Girl,
Rolling gonna get picked off late here.
she unfortunately gets staggered late, but Rolling did try to get the res onto Zack, but unfortunately she got interrupted and wasn't able to get it off.
Zach, switching off to the Hanzo and rolling off to the Ana, I mean, if they can hopefully get a hold here and build up their ults, but that's a lot of percentage lost.
Yeah, both Orissas are down. And they're gonna have to contest the point. Avocados
EMP into
are
the back.
useless. Being used.
Riptide on the
Tiger
point,
gets
getting
three! Huge ultimate from last on that Junkrat.
So though, House has about 3 more team fights here. They are still sticking with that Bastion, hoping for their ult to kind of help them.
Key sleep
Good
on
shatter
the
onto the
Sombra,
point,
but a
getting
good
3.
shatter. And that will be the map, I believe, ladies and gentlemen.
This might be a C9. No, they get to the point quick enough. Bastion ult coming out though with no Diva to eat it.
That will be it.
And House takes
House
the
of
last
Evolution does manage to get 1 win under their belt. They do lose, unfortunately, the series 3-1. But still, a good, solid win for them nonetheless. Nothing. It's a boost of confidence, if anything. Just right.
Right
How?
on the point.
How? How does he not die? That was amazing. That was a beautiful ultimate. A very ballsy ultimate, considering he was literally on the point in front of the Bastion, but manages to get the play.
So who are you thinking for MVPs?
Oof.
I'm gonna
Go ahead,
say
go
for
ahead.
dabbing. Johnny popped off on Ilios. Last popped off on Junkertown. But
Mhm.
I think MVP should go for consistency, and I feel like Rolling Girl. Just the heals, like you said, with the Mercy into Goats really supported them through King's Row and Hanamura.
I was going to suggest that as well. My 3, honestly, for dabbing were last Johnny and Rolling Girl.
Like I said, like last had the amazing Junkrat plays on Junkertown and Johnny on the Widow, but it's just one map, and that's the only map
It
where I
is.
really like always mention their name. I don't feel like that should be
Yeah.
the standout point for an MVP.
Yeah,
And
I
healers
agree
need
with you
their respect.
wholeheartedly. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I say MVP for diving does go to Rolling Girl.
And then for House of Evolution, I was thinking Chastin from the
I
tank plays on Ilios and Bastion on Junkertown. But you can definitely challenge that because there's a very,
hmm, there
I
was
was
some
very,
strong. Yeah, I was gonna say there were some strong candidates there. I would say Chaston as well. He seemed to be uh, giving off the most highlight plays. He seemed to be the go-to guy for them and the one doing essentially the best in my opinion. So I would say Chaston as well.
so
Although
that's week one.
you could have made some arguments for a couple others to be fair, but I give it to
Yeah,
Chaston.
that's week one.
That indeed it is, ladies and gentlemen.